Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sage Business Cloud Accounting Software online lecture series. Today, we will start from Suppliers Reports. You can go to Suppliers Reports from Suppliers Reports, and you can generate following reports. List of suppliers, purchases by suppliers, supplier balances, days outstanding, supplier statement, supplier transactions, supplier purchase orders by supplier, supplier invoices, supplier unallocated payments, and emails sent to suppliers. Okay, we will start from list of suppliers. From this report, you can generate your list of suppliers. You can generate with that supplier details. From report filter, you can select your supplier. You can select single supplier. You can select range of suppliers, or you can, if you don't select any supplier, system will display all supplier details. From active, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. And from category, if you have any supplier category, you can select supplier categories. Next, report options. From report options, you can select summary or detailed report. Okay. First, we will generate summary report. After you select these filters and options, you can click view report and generate the report. Here you can view supplier name, supplier category, whether that's supplier active or not, contact name, telephone number of that supplier, and supplier balance. Next, we will generate detailed report. If you select detail, you can view supplier name, supplier category, whether it's active or inactive custom supplier, supplier contact name, supplier telephone number, supplier balance, and supplier contact details, such as physical address, postal address, fax number, mobile number, email address, credit limit, you can view. Furthermore, there's another option. Show user-defined fields. If you tick this option, you can view with supplier listing with additional fields or user-defined fields. Okay, like this, you can generate this report. Now, when you generate the report, you can view supplier balances. If you have foreign suppliers, you can view that suppliers currency, suppliers balance in suppliers currency. And you can print this report, email this report, or if you want, you can export to PDF, CSV, Excel file formats. You can view number of pages here and date, company name. And there's a link. If you click this supplier name, you can view that statement. If you click this balance, you can view the supplier statement. Okay, next we will move to purchases by supplier report. From this report, you can generate supplier-wise purchase report. Okay, from report filters, you can select particular supplier or range of suppliers, or if you don't select any supplier, you can select all suppliers. Okay, system will display all supplier report if you don't select any supplier. From here, active, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. From category, you can select specific supplier category. And from report options, you can select date range. You can select monthly, quarterly, yearly, month to date, quarter to date, year to date, live to date, custom to date, and last month, last quarter, last year. And if you select custom dates, you can select a particular date range. Like this, if you select custom date, you can select a particular date range. And if you select all, system will display all purchases by supplier report. All date range system will display. Next, if you want to include supplier returns for this report, you can take this option. And if you want to exclude supplier returns, you can untick this option. Next, from style, you can generate the report as summary format or detailed format. First, we will generate summary format and click view report. Okay, from here you can view supplier name, reference number, that invoice number or return, description, quantity, and total purchases. You can view each supplier totals and grand total. Next, we will generate detailed report for suppliers, reports, purchases by supplier. You can select date range, and from here you can select from style, you can select detail and view report. Okay, right. Now, if you select detail, system will display each line item also. Now, if you have more than one line in a supplier invoice, system will display both lines and all lines in that invoice with item description, quantity, and value of that purchase. If you select summary, system will display only summary report, one line for one transaction. It will not display item names, item quantities, or item values. Now, if you select details, system will display what are the items with item code and item description, item quantities, and item values. Okay. And also, when you generate this report, if you tick that include return, you can view that in minus values. You can see minus value this report, and also RTN is returns. So if you include that, if you tick that include supplier returns, system will display supplier returns also. Okay, each supplier wise you can view the report, and this is grouped by supplier. Here you can see these transactions grouped by supplier. Okay, next we will move to supplier balances this outstanding report. From here, you can view supplier outstanding report. You can generate age analysis. You can select run at date. As at this date, system will display supplier balances. Next, you can select suppliers. You can select supplier categories. You can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. From style, you can select summary or detail. From exclude tick box, if you have any zero balance suppliers, system will exclude that zero balance suppliers if you tick this option. Next, use foreign currency. If you tick this option, system will display supplier balances in suppliers currency. Okay. After that, click view report. Here you can view supplier balances age analysis. Okay. You can view supplier name, supplier balances 120 plus days, 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, current period, and total due. Next, we will generate detailed report. Now, if you select detail, you can view each outstanding transaction-wise report. Now, previous report, you can view only one line for one supplier. But in this report, you can view, in detail report, you can view transaction-wise report. Okay. Now, for particular invoice outstanding, you can view that invoice from this report. Okay. And you can view each supplier-wise outstanding report, total outstanding. Now, if you take this option, use foreign currency, system will display suppliers outstanding in suppliers currency. If you untick this option, system will display all outstanding in home currency. If you tick this option, use foreign currency, system will display suppliers outstanding in suppliers currency. And also one important thing, now if you select or if you tick this use foreign currency tick box, you cannot view grand total. If you untick this option, you can view the grand total. And this report also, if you click this transaction, you can view the original document or source document. And you can export this report to PDF, Excel, or CSV, and you can print or email this report. Now, in some suppliers, there are plus values and minus values. And if you haven't allocate your returns or payments to invoices, system will display both return and payments and invoices. Now, for an example, if this return has not allocated to invoice, therefore, system will display both return and the invoice. Okay, so you can do the allocations. Go to suppliers, transactions, allocate payments. From here, you can allocate this payment to invoice, then system will not display that both the payment and invoice. You can get the accurate outstanding report. Okay, now here also you can see that there's payment and invoice available. So if you allocate these transactions, this transaction will not display in the outstanding report. Next, we will move to supplier statement report. From this report, you can generate supplier transactions. You can select suppliers. You can select supply categories. From report options, you can select date range. And you can generate this report. Okay, now for each supplier, there will be a report or separate page for each supplier. From this report, you can view supplier transactions, supplier outstanding, And there are a few options. Show balance brought forward. Now this report previous balance not available. So if you tick this balance, show balance brought forward, system will display opening balance as at this date, or supply balance as at this date. Next, exclude fully allocated invoices. If you tick this option, system will not display fully allocated invoices. Then system will display only unpaid or outstanding invoices. Next, if you tick this option, use foreign currency, system will display supplier transactions in supplier's currency. Next, exclude suppliers where balances are. If it is zero balance suppliers, system will not display, and outstanding or minus value suppliers will not display. Now, for an example, if supplier has paid advances, or we have paid advances to suppliers, those suppliers will not display in this supplier statement. Next, less than. If you tick this option and if you enter any amount here, system will not display a statement for supplier's balance below this amount. Okay, and if you tick this option less than, other two options, 0 and negative, tick boxes will inactivated. If you untick, these buttons, tick boxes will activate. And if you tick this option, or if you untick this option, this enable balance less than amount also inactivate. Next, you can view the report. Now you can see here brought forward value, and but previous report, if you untick this, that tick show brought forward balance, here it will not display brought forward value. Okay, next we will move to supplier transactions report. You can generate supplier transactions report from suppliers reports, supplier transactions. Now, from this report, you can generate supplier transactions for a particular date range. Okay? You can select date range, you can select suppliers, and you can select supplier categories. And from status, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. And from transaction types, you can select supplier adjustments, supplier invoice, supplier opening balance, supplier payment, and supplier returns. If you don't select any transaction type, system will display all transaction. Next, use foreign currency. If you tick this option, system will display transactions in supplier's currency. Next, click view report. Here, you can view, from this report, you can view supplier opening balance, transactions, closing balance, and movement for the period. Each supplier's this date range, you can view opening balance, transactions, and closing balance, and movement for the period. If you have foreign suppliers, system will display transactions in foreign suppliers transaction in suppliers currency. Okay, next we will move to supplier purchase orders reports. Now from this report, you can generate a purchase order list. Okay, you can select date range. You can select suppliers, supplier categories, status, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. And from document status, you can select confirmed, cancel, pending, overdue, and invoice purchase orders. Now, when you are entering purchase orders, there are some status. You can see invoiced, overdue, confirmed, cancelled orders. So those status you can select from here. If you select all, system will display all status purchase orders. If you tick this use foreign currency tick box, system will display suppliers purchase orders in suppliers currency. Next, click view report. You can view transaction date or purchase order date, delivery date, reference number or purchase order number, supplier name, exclusive amount, tax amount, total amount, and status. This report also you can export to PDF, Excel, or CSV, and you can print or email. Next, we will move to supplier purchase orders by supplier. Here also you can select suppliers, supplier category. From report options, you can select date range, and style, you can select summary. Status, you can select document status, and you can view the report. Here you can view that purchase orders. Now previous report, you can view list of purchase orders. Here that purchase orders grouped by supplier. Okay, Now in previous reports, it's a list of purchase orders. It's sorted by reference number, and here it's grouped by supplier name. And you can generate this report as detail. You can select detail as style and view report. If you select detail, system will display each purchase orders line items. Okay. Now previous report, summary report, you cannot view line items in the purchase order. However, if you select detail, you can view the line items of that purchase order. You can view line item, quantity, and value. Here also purchase orders grouped by supplier. Next, supply invoices report. You can go to supply invoices report from suppliers reports, supplier invoices. From here, you can generate supplier invoices. You can select particular date range. You can select suppliers. You can select supplier category. And from status, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. And if you want to include supplier returns, you can tick this option. If you want to view supplier invoices in supplier's currency, you can tick use foreign currency. After that, click view report. From this report, you can view date, that's supplier invoice date, document number, supplier invoice number, supplier name, due date for payment, anticipated payment date, exclusive amount, tax amount, total purchases, and total outstanding. Here also, if you untick this use foreign currency tick box and refresh, you can view grand total. And this report also you can export to PDF, Excel, CSV, and you can print or email. And if you click this invoice line, you can view the source document or original transaction. Okay, next we will move to supplier unallocated payments. Now, from this report, you can view what are the transactions or what are the payments you haven't allocated to an invoice. Okay, now you can view that this supplier, these transactions not allocated to supplier invoice. Now you can generate this report and you can go to allocate payments, and you can allocate unallocated transactions. You can go to suppliers transactions, allocate payments, You can select supplier, refresh, then you can view that unallocated transactions available. You can allocate these transactions to invoices. Okay, this report also you can select date range, supplier, supplier category, and if you want to include supplier returns and adjustments, you can tick this option. If you include these supplier returns and adjustments, you can view adjustments and returns in addition to supplier payments. You can use this report for allocate unallocated payments to supplier invoices. Okay, next we will move to emails sent to suppliers. From this report, you can view what are the emails you have sent to your suppliers. You can select suppliers. You can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. You can select supplier categories. And from report options, you can select date range and view report. And here you can view what are the emails you have sent to your suppliers. You can view date, sent from, sent to, recipient email address, type, and document number. If you click this any document number, you can view the invoice or that transaction you can view. Okay, now we have completed supplier reports. Next, we will move to this special option. From here, you can adjust your supplier opening balances. Now, when you are creating your suppliers, you can enter supplier opening balances. Go to suppliers, add a supplier. And from here, you can enter supplier opening balance. Now, sometimes after enter your supplier balances, you will realize that entered opening balance is incorrect and you want to change that. In that case, you can use this special option and select just opening balance, and you can select supplier. After you select the supplier, system will display current opening balance, and you can change your opening balance, and you need to enter reason why you are changing opening balance, and you can select opening balance as a date and save this transaction. Okay, then system will change this balance to new opening balance. And also without reason you cannot save, therefore please enter reason why you are changing opening balance. Okay, now we have completed supplier module. We have created suppliers. We have entered supplier transactions. We have generated supplier reports, and we have changed supplier opening balances. Next, we will move to customer module. First, we will create sales reps. Go to customers, list of sales reps. Tick add sales rep. From here, you can add your sales reps. Okay, you can enter first name, last name, email address, telephone number, mobile number, and you can save this sales rep. In addition to that, if you want to attach any documents for the sales rep, such as targets or appointment letters, you can attach from here. You can select enter date, action date, subject, note, and you can attach document. You can add more notes here. And if you want to delete any note, by clicking this red color button, you can delete note. After that, you can save this sales rep. After you create sales reps, you can view your sales rep from this grid. You can view first name, last name, email address, telephone number, mobile number. And if you want to search any sales rep, you can search. And if you want to filter any sales rep, you can filter. You can sort by multi-columns. And you can customize this grid by clicking this gear button and click customize grid. You can tick required columns, and if you want to remove any column, you can untick that column name. After that, save. Then you can view your list of sales reps. You can view number of your sales reps, and after you click, create your sales reps, you can link that sales rep to your transaction. Customer transactions, you can link your sales reps. Okay, and next you will create customer categories. Go to customers, list, customer categories. Click add category, and you can enter description for that customer category, and you can save. After you create customer categories, you can view your customer categories, and you can sort your customer categories by ascending or descending order, and you can categorize your customers, and this like a group. And if you group your customers, or if you categorize your customers, you can generate reports in customer category wise. Okay. And also you can categorize your customers as their purchasing pattern or buying pattern, that retail, wholesale, or you can categorize your customers by their products, and you can categorize customers by area wise or region wise. Like that, you can categorize your customers, and the main purpose of this customer categorization is generate reports. Okay, right. Next, we will move to create customers. You can create customers by go to customers, list of customers, and click add a customer. Or you can go to customers, or you can go to customers, click add a customer, and you can enter customer details. Okay, by entering customer name also you can save your customer, but it's better if you can enter that additional details. Okay, first you need to enter your customer name, and if you have any customer categories you can select your customer category, or from here also if you want you can create your customer categories. By clicking this add new category you can create new customer category. Next, if this is a cash customer, you can tick this option, cash sale, then other fields will inactivated. And if you want to maintain this customer details, you can untick this option. Next, opening balance. You can enter opening balance of that customer. Now, for an example, if you are implementing this system for all company, you may have customer opening balances. And if you have customer opening balances, you can enter customer opening balance. Next, opening balance as a date. This date should be system implementation date. Next, active. This, if you take this tick box, active tick box, that customer is an active customer. And later, if you want to inactive this customer, you can untick this option. Next, credit limit. If you are giving credit for your customer, you can enter the credit limit. And if you have entered any credit limit here, and if your customer exceeding this credit limit, system will pop up a message that customer credit limit will exceed. Next, tax reference. You can enter customer tax number. And if you enter customer tax number, when you are invoicing for that customer, system will display customer tax number. Next, sales rep. You can select your sales rep from here. If you are assigning any sales rep, you can select that sales rep. And from here also you can create your sales rep by clicking add new sales rep. And if you set any default sales rep, when you enter invoices for that customer, system will display this sales rep. And if you want to change that sales rep when you are processing transaction, you can change that sales rep. Right. Next, auto allocate receipt to oldest invoices. Now, if you tick this option, when you enter customer receipts, system will allocate that receipt to oldest invoices. Now, for an example, you have that customer has 3 outstanding invoices from in January, February, and March. When you enter sales receipts or customer receipts for that customer, system will first allocate to January invoice. Okay. Right. Next, exclude from debtors manager. Now the system has add-on module, debtors manager module. From this debtors manager module, you can send reminders, outstanding invoice reminders to your customers. And if you activated this, or if you take this exclude from debtors manager, system will not send reminders for that customer. And if you want to send outstanding reminders, you can untick this option, exclude from debtors manager. Next, new invoices on hold. If you tick this option, your users cannot invoice for this customer. Okay, now for an example, if you have any customer is long outstanding, you can tick this option, new invoices on hold. Then your users cannot enter invoices for this customer. Okay, next, there are a few tabs. First, details. You can enter postal address, physical address for this customer. And if you want to copy that postal address to delivery address, you can click this option, copy from postal address. Then system will copy that postal address to delivery address. And also you can view this address in Google Maps. And if you want to deliver goods to this customer, you can use this Google Map. Right. Next, you can enter customer contact details. You can enter contact name, email address, telephone number, mobile number, fax number, web address. And there are a few options. Invoices can be viewed online, send outstanding invoices reminders, send overdue invoice reminders. Now, if you take this option, invoices can be viewed online. Now, I think you can remember when you are discussing these company settings, we have activated this customers on. And if you enable this customers on, and if you want to block a particular customer viewing that invoices online, you can untick this option. If you want to view, or if you want to allow them to view, you can tick this option. Next, send outstanding invoice reminders. If you tick this option, system will send outstanding invoice reminders. And if you tick this send overdue invoice reminders, system will send overdue invoice reminders for that customer. Next, you can enter business registration number and GST verified date. And these are not compulsory. If you can enter, you can enter. And without these details also, you can save the customer. And if you have entered these details, you can directly send emails, or if you have Skype account, you can call them, and you can go to this web address. Like that, by clicking this link, you can send emails, you can call, or you can log into customer website. Right. Next, we will move to default settings. Now, from this default settings, you can set default values, and when you are enter transactions for that customer, system will display these default values. And if you want to change this default value when you are enter transactions, you can change when you are processing the transaction. First option is statement distribution. There are 4 methods: none, print, email, print and email. If you want to send a statement via email, you can select email. And if you want to print, you can print. And also, if you haven't entered any email address under email, please select to print. If you haven't any email address here, and if you select email as statement distribution method, you cannot save that customer. Okay, so therefore, if you haven't entered any email address under email, please select email distribution method as print. Next, default discount. You can enter default discount here, and when you are enter transaction for this customer, system will display this default discount. And when you are enter transaction, you can, if you want, you can change the default discount. Next, default price list. If you have, if you are selling to your customers same item at different prices, you can create price list, and you can link that price list to your customer. And when you are invoicing for that customer, relevant prices will display in the invoice. Now, for an example, a particular item, if you are selling for wholesale customers and 1,000 rupees and retail customers 1,200, you can link that if this wholesale customer, you can link that wholesale price list to this customer. Then when you are enter transaction for that customer, system will display wholesale price list for that customer. Okay, so you don't want to manually change the prices. System will automatically display that relevant price list. Next, default tax type. From here, you can select tax type, and when you enter transactions, system will display this tax type or tax rate. Next, due date for payment. If you are giving a credit period for this customer, you can enter number of days credit period. And you can select currency. If you have foreign supplier customers, you can select that customer currency, or you can select the local currency. Right. Now, if you enter this default settings or default information, when you are processing transaction, these values will display. So you can save your time. Now, for an example, if you set default tax type, you don't want to select tax type when you enter transaction, system will automatically set that tax type. And if you are giving credit period for this customer, you can set that number of days. Then when you enter transaction, system will calculate that credit period and it will display due date. Okay. Like that, if you set default information, when you enter transaction, system will display correct information or this default information. By that, you can save your time. Okay. Right. Next, activity tab. Now, for demonstration purposes, I will open customer with transactions. If you click activity, you can view customer transactions or activities, customer opening balance, customer adjustments, customer tax invoices, credit notes, receipts, and balance. If you click these details, you can view that transactions. Okay, and also you click this document detail button, you can view the transaction. These details will pick from the system and display here. You don't want to manually calculate these values. Next, additional contacts. Now here under contact details, you can enter customer contact information. And if you want to add more person details, you can add, or you can go to additional contacts and you can add contact details. By clicking this plus mark, you can add additional contacts, and you can enter contact name, designation, telephone number, fax number, mobile number, email address, and there are two options: OS invoices, outstanding invoices, and overdue invoices. If you want to send outstanding invoice reminders for these additional contacts, you can tick this option. And if you want to send overdue invoice reminders, you can tick this option. Okay, then your additional contacts also will receive outstanding invoice reminders and overdue invoice reminders. And if you want to delete any line, by clicking this red color button, you can delete. You can add by clicking this green color button. Next, notes. From here, you can add notes. Now, for an example, if you are arranging any meetings, or if you want to visit that customer, you can enter that details here. Then when action date reach, that detail will display in the dashboard. You can view the details in the dashboard. And also you can attach document for this customer. You can attach up to 5 attachments and up to 2 MB. Next, user-defined fields. If you want to add more details, you can use this user-defined field. There are 3 text values, 3 numeric values, 3 yes, no values, and 3 date values. You can enter additional details in these user-defined fields. Next, personal information. You can select date for this personal information. Now, actually, this personal information requirement due to Data Protection Act, you need to mention how many years you will keep this customer details. And if you want to extend, you can extend this period also. So this is mainly due to Data Protection Act. Next, sales graph. You can view sales graph, and you can analyze your monthly sales graph with previous year. Okay, you can view last year and this year sales graph. Next, quotations. You can view customer quotations here. Next, sales orders. You can view customer sales orders. Invoices. You can view customer invoices. And this is only unpaid invoices. If you want to include paid invoices, you can tick this option. Next, report layout. Now, if you have a different invoice format for different customers, now for an example, SWAT customers, you will issue a different invoice format, and VAT customers, you will issue a VAT invoice. In that case, if you are using a different format, you can link that relevant invoice format. Then when you are invoicing for that customer, that relevant invoice will display for that customer. Okay, now if this is a SWAT customer, you can link that SWAT invoice. Then when you are invoicing for this customer, system will print a SWAT invoice format. Okay, like that, you can set document layouts. You can set quotation layout, sales order layout, invoice layout, credit note layout, customer statement layout, and delivery note layout. Okay. After you enter these details, you can save this customer. After you create this customer, after you create customers, you can view a list of customers. From this grid, you can view, go to customers, list of customers. You can view customer name, category, balance, credit period, credit limit. These details you can view, and you can search customers, and you can filter customers. And you can sort by clicking these headings. You can sort by ascending or descending order. In addition to that, if you want to sort by multi-column, you can click this arrow and you can add levels. Like this, you can sort by multi-column, and you can change this layout by clicking this gear button, and you can customize this grid. You can tick required columns and you can untick if you want to remove any column. And from actions, you can quick view this customer. customer name, contact details, balance, then recent transactions, quick reports, customer sales history, customer outstanding, you can view. Next, invoices, all transactions, codes, sales orders, you can view. Next, if you want to edit this customer, you can, by clicking this edit button, you can edit the customer. And if you want to delete, you can delete this customer. However, if you have transactions in this customer, you cannot delete this customer. And if you want to add transactions, you can add from here by clicking add invoice, add code, add sales order, add receipt. And if you want to view statement of this customer, by clicking this view statement, you can view a statement. Okay. Next, there are a few buttons, inactivated buttons. If you click this button, or if you tick this tick box, these buttons will active. And if you want to delete, you can delete these selected customers. And if you want to mark as active or inactive, you can change this active or inactive. Next, update. Now you can update this field. Now for an example, if you want to change the customer category, here category is accounting software. And if you want to change, you can select this category and you can change to category, then system will change that category. Now, if you want to change more than one customer details, you can select that category, or these details you can change: sales rep, auto allocate, then tax types, layouts, you can change from here. Okay, now if you want to change these sales rep names, you can select that customers and select update. From update, you can select sales rep and you can select the sales rep name and save. Then that sales rep name will change. Right, like that, you can create customers and you can customize this grid. Okay, we will wrap up for today. Next session, we will start customer transaction. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. Have a pleasant evening.